Business owners, fellow business owners, entrepreneurs, there is a health hack that's going to help you 10x revenue. I'm not making this up. You got to hear this today. FlowChat fam and Sales Ascender, welcome back to another Spotlight episode. We're finding real people that bring you real results because they're on the front lines carving through all the BS. In fact, the BS that we're going to be tackling today are all the temptations, all the lies, all the excuses when it comes to health. This is actually really important. If we're not aligned mentally, emotionally, and physically, our revenue will suffer, okay? Just being completely honest, as a business owner, I'm like, yeah, I'm young. I'll figure it out. I'll be okay. I'll get through it. I can work 40 straight hours without sleeping. I can go 72 hours without eating and doing water only. Yes, I've tested those different things. Can you do it? That's not the question. Is it best for you? And more importantly, is it more profitable? Fortunately, fellow FlowChat fam member with us today eats all those excuses for breakfast and just for the protein content. Listen, Julie, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us and bringing us to into the light so we can go faster and change the world in our own way. How's it going, Julie?
Great. You see, I had to make the excuses first myself and then eat them for breakfast. You know, you have to make them and then eat them. So,
I wanted to.
You got
to taste your own cooking. Yes, they've been eliminated for lack of more colorful phrases we could use for that. Now, hey, here's what we'll do. This is your story is really powerful because you are a business owner with all kinds of gyms and you've also made money online and you've served people in all different capacities. So I definitely want to get into your story, but everyone listening, stay to the end. Here's why. There's hacks, there's things that you can do like for free today. They're easy and get immediate benefit, ROI, on what's going to come out of Julie's mouth today. So why? How long have we known each other, Julie?
Long time. Maybe 8 years.
It's at least that. It's at least that. Quick side note before we I'm gonna warm up your story on how Julie and I met. It took place with being a little intimidated by boot camps, right? And then it morphed into a request of, hey, so my friend and I, Dustin Rocco, shout out Dustin, if you ever see this, we were competing on American Ninja Warrior, and Julie was the gym owner locally in Las Vegas. Cheers. Cheers. That was like, you know what? I put my pants one leg on, one leg at a time in the morning, just like everyone else. But once they're on, I'm freaking awesome. And that's why I'm going to build you ninja obstacles. And so if you're ever in Vegas area, check out Rhino Julie, Camp Rhino, Google her, message me, and we'll do some ninja training and ninja stuff at our gym together. So that's how Julie and I met. But where did your entrepreneurial journey start?
So I started at 17 and my dad had a problem in his business and he said, hey, I need someone. He's like, I know how to solve the problem, but I don't have the time. So I helped him solve his problem. And then I helped a bunch of other businesses solve their problems. They were trying to access real estate agents back in the day. And so I ran that business up until about 21 and I just got fatter and fatter and fatter. And I was miserable. Like there was a lot of things going on at the time that led to my misery and weight gain. And I was like, I love business, but I am so miserable right now that I just can't continue like this. And I didn't like working out. And gluttony is the one like overlooked sin. Like when I was it's like, wait, wasn't that like, no, gluttony is okay. That was the one, like we just ate and ate and ate. That was our fun time. That's always been my big passion is eating delicious food. And so I was like, you know what? I need to go join the military and have a drill instructor torture me so that I can lose weight. And I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea because I don't like being told what to do. And that's also not very, that's not an honorable thing to do. So I didn't think about it too long. And I was like, ooh, I can start my own. And I looked for like fat camps or something where people would just torture me into skinniness. And I didn't find any. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start my own. And in 5 days, I started one of the first boot camps for civilian. I went to Home Depot and got water pails so we could carry water. And I got telephone poles so that we could carry them. And we hooked little things to tires and we're pulling tires with straps. And that's how I started. But I was always obsessed with obstacle courses because it seemed fun. And I didn't want to work out, but I was like, if I could be like a kid on the playground and lose weight so that I can swing across things, like that seems like more fun to me. And so that was the start of a 17-year-long crazy business journey. That was the start of it.
It's so crazy how like stories happen and stories collide. So I didn't know that background yet. We haven't even got to talk about that. But as you started getting those water pails, like those started taking place in parks. And one of those parks was right by the condo that I used to live in before we moved into this house. And I would go running every morning and do burpees and whatever, my workout. And I would always run by. I was like, man, those, like, it's like there's always community. People like were working together, encouraging each other. I was like, dude, that's a good boot camp over there. And anyway, we since got to know each other. So this all being said, that was your entrepreneur journey. How did that's something that I really hope somebody gets and is able to take away from here, because you do it so effectively. Your approach on food, supplements, keeping it very simple, and you are the business owner that deals with all the pressures, payroll. You're dealing with all types of building agreements with your current gyms, because and you expanded recently, and now like in a dedicated ninja gym and stuff, which thank you for letting me come play there. My kids play there and everything. We love it. So this all being said, everyone needs to hear how did you sell? Because we're always buying and selling ideas, even to ourselves. We're the hardest people to sell as ourselves, but you did it. How did you overcome those temptations, like on a daily basis? How are you eating good foods? How are you making time to work out? And when you did, what did you do?
So I wish that someone would have told me way back then that what I wanted was possible. Because at first I didn't even know if I could lose weight. And then I thought I had to work out 2 to 4 hours a day. Well, I did, because I ate a lot. We're talking, I would go to Mimi's Cafe and I would have 2 meals. I would have the waffles and I would have...
Which one do I want? Yes.
Both. Yes. But because I was working out a lot, I would need to eat a lot, and I never restricted myself with food. But then I would injure myself doing really stupid things, like dropping a barbell on my foot, things like that. And I used to race motocross back in the day, and I broke myself doing that. So I lost the weight just exercising like crazy, but then I would gain it back every time I couldn't exercise. Then I started my physical locations. And all of a sudden, I couldn't work out 2 to 4 hours a day. All of a sudden, I had to figure out how to make this business work. That we didn't have a place for our obstacles. I had them in my backyard, and the county kept interfering with that, and the neighbors were upset. And so we took all of our money and put it down on first and last month's rent at our first facility, thinking we're going to be open 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. and it's going to be great, and everybody's going to love this. And it's like, who wouldn't? Because we were the first obstacle facility of its kind. Like, who wouldn't want to be here? And that was true right up until the first local race. And then after that, everyone canceled their memberships. I'm like, okay, I have to figure out how to make it work.
Oh no.
So super crazy, long story short, and there's a lot of stories like this. I was in the office. I was not working out. I started gaining more and more weight. And I was like, wait, am I going to have to fix my nutrition? Like, that sounds horrible. So we started a nutrition program, and I hired the best person I could find that was the head of Sunrise Hospital's nutrition program. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I taught the nutrition program for 4 cycles. We did this 6-week challenge that we still do to this day. And it's awesome, without doing it myself, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the next one. Then I wouldn't do it. Then I'm going to do the next one. And then I wouldn't do it. And what I didn't understand was the all or nothing mentality when it comes to our health. We're always going to push it off another day. If we're saying, I'm going to be perfect, and I'm going to have vegetables, and I'm going to have, protein, and I'm going to drink water, and I'm going to give up all the things that I love on this earth, as far as it comes to food, it's not going to happen.
It's a rough pitch.
Or I'm going to restrict myself too much, and then I'm just going to go and binge eat on the weekends or something. So now, fast forward to today, I've realized that it's all cumulative. Let's do a squat right now. One squat. There we go. Did a squat.
Where'd she go? There she is.
Yeah. Everything counts. Having a standing desk counts. Starting with increasing our water, just starting with one thing. Counts.
How much water do we drink, Julie?
So really the best thing is to have a little competition with yourself and see if you can get your urine to straw yellow, just very, very light, super light. That's the best thing. But I think it's 11.5 cups for women, 15.5 cups for men, but it's very variable depending on where you live and what your what you're
True.
doing.
If you're in the desert, drink
Yeah.
17 gallons. If you're
Yeah.
okay.
Just keep drinking water all day is a really great, we have those giant jugs, those giant like gallon jugs that people, however you can see where you're supposed to be. More water, better. Yes.
Cool. Is there, can you do too much?
I wouldn't worry about that. So you know, if you Google have people died from drinking too much water, you can see what they did to do that. But we don't want to get like that in your head that that's going to be a thing for you. Everything gradually increasing and awareness. So awareness and consistency is key in our business and it's key in our personal health. So how do I feel? What is my body doing as a result of drinking more water and gradually increasing? Around a gallon is probably pretty good. Some people say half your body weight in ounces.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Those are some helpful marks. Okay, so let's talk about benefits, right? You're essentially saying, well, here's what you do. The pitch where you have to change everything and it's going to be work and you have to make all these lifestyle changes, and you've meanwhile been putting this off for the last 3-5 years of your life. Clearly it's not working. You're saying, like, look, make one small change at a time. Step number one, make sure you're drinking maybe roughly a gallon, maybe half your body weight in ounces, 70% of your body weight in ounces, somewhere in there. Great place to start with water. Maybe cut out like everything, or cut out coffee or cut out soda, and for a day, just drink water for a day. See what happens. Okay, so simple, very attainable goals to execute on.
With one, so the way that I do it is I never ask people to restrict. I always, so all of my clients, what can we add? What can we add? What can we add? You increase your water, increase your vegetables, increase your whole protein. Other things are just going to kind of happen. And then it's like, instead of no coffee, for me, I decided to figure out how to make the world's best chai from home. And I have my little chai spice and I have my little soy milk. And so I'm not cutting out coffee. I'm like, I'm going to make the world's best super healthy chai with very low sugar. And I'm going to love it. And it's going to be awesome.
See, and that's why you and your clients just get results. Like that's a real pitch. I see why people are buying into that. I see why they're moving forward right now with part of our acquisition, part of our business. I want to go fast, and I'm like, oh, I got to build this and this and this and this, and I just feel and everyone listening, I know it's like this, it does this, right? You're like, oh god, you're just like melting because it's so heavy, and you're already busy through the week, and you're already a little tired because the last 3 weeks that just took place because you had an event or pushed through whatever. Here's the thing. We're making small little gaps, like we're closing small little gaps in our process, and you're saying that's actually the right approach with health. Sounds like somebody that's actually gotten results in business and health. So, but here's what I want to know, Julie. I want to know results. I want to know, what do I get for doing that?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I just wanted to lose weight. I didn't care about any of the rest of it. People are like, oh, you can have more energy. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to look like a gym owner because I own gyms. But I had never felt energy from the first thing in the morning until I go to bed at night. I'd never felt it. So I didn't know what it felt like. So when I finally kind of dialed in my life, so to speak, and all of a sudden I was increasing the healthy things that I was eating, I was exercising just normally, hour or less a day. Then all of a sudden, it's like the heavens open and all of a sudden I have energy. I'm looking around. I'm just like loving random people in the grocery store. Like, oh, I just love all these people. I didn't know that it would actually open my heart, help me love people. I wanted to work before working on, on the business vegetables, as I call them, the things that you don't want to do. It was always just forced. But when you have brain power and your brain is just clicking along and you have clarity and energy, all of a sudden you're like, no big deal. I'll work on that. I'll work on this. Those things, I had no idea that those were going to be side effects because I had never felt them before. So making these little changes, it didn't just help me lose the weight. It saved my business. Literally saved my business.
That's number one, congrats, and that's very powerful. That's an interesting pitch. So I keep saying pitch because it's like we're buying and selling ideas every single day and multiple times throughout the day. And the ones that we choose to buy into, we will get the return of what we bought. And so if you buy into bad ideas, you get bad returns. And we don't want those. So like this one's interesting where, hey, if you position yourself, if you're going to run a race and you put on construction boots and that's how you've prepped yourself going into the race, you're going to get a certain result. But if you actually have running shoes, your body's, nourished properly, hydrated properly, your muscles are warm and stretched, and your mind is focused, what your mission is and what the movements that you're going to be doing, you're going to be set up to do things that you otherwise could not have done. And so hopefully I know this is serving people. I know this has got results for you. And obviously you and I have had a couple of conversations around this. And look, we want to give people real results, anyone watching the spotlight. And so these are very simple, like for free today, you can like drink more water, well, I've heard it. We'll go do it.
Go do one thing, celebrate the heck out of it, do it with other people. And then once that becomes something we're like, oh, I've been doing. So this is the best part of working with my clients. I take 3 one-on-one clients at a time. And there comes this time where all of a sudden, so they start too busy to do anything. We're talking no exercise. We're talking fast food all day because they're busy. They're either professionals or they're entrepreneurs. And I mean, we're talking hardly any self-care. They're not getting enough sleep. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months in, they are exercising. They're eating like pretty healthy. They're doing all the things, but they don't even realize it. And this is the same with entrepreneurs too. It's why entrepreneurs need coaches, is we make changes. We don't even realize that we've made the changes. We're still kind of frustrated with ourselves because we're not like, way up here. And you need a coach to tell you like, hey, look at how far you've come. Then you get excited. And the only way to get motivated is to celebrate your success. I always say there is no motivation without celebration. And that's my favorite. Just they're on autopilot. So I asked my client yesterday, I said, this last week, she's losing weight, but she's enjoying every minute of her life. And it doesn't feel like work. She doesn't feel like she's doing anything more. She had a crazy busy week last week. Oh, it was crazy busy. But she did all of her things without even realizing it. And that's when these things become those healthy habits. And when people used to talk to me about gradual habit change and healthy habits, I'm like, no, I want it all now. And then I would get it now, and then I would lose it, and I would gain the weight back. But she's going to keep this routine up for life. It doesn't even feel like anything extra to her. It's beautiful.
This is the magic of Julie. This is why I wanted all of you to be able to meet Julie, hear her, see her, and buy into all her smart ideas and thoughts when it comes to this. Hey, that all said, for the people leaning in, Julie, where's the best place for them to find you?
I am Rhino Julie everywhere. So yes. Instagram, Facebook, those are both awesome ways to reach me.
Instagram, Facebook, the Rhino Julie everywhere. Seriously, just reach out, at least reach out, have a conversation. Listen, she'll serve you in some capacity. It might look like, hey, I actually have some openings for client work. She's only taking on 3 at a time. Or you get in the queue, or it's just like, hey, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I'm thinking, and she'll say, hey, like, do these things. She totally leads with serving, and you'll benefit from spending time with her. I always like to ask, as the last question for these conversations, essentially why. I'm going to give you a second to think about your answer, but I like to ask why put all earnings down on first and last month rent to open the gym. Why not go to a boot camp? Why, what? I have a problem. I'm going to start an entire business and build community around this idea of boot camp. It takes a certain person to, entrepreneurially, or if you're an athlete, a musician, artist, whatever, to put yourself out there. It's a very vulnerable place. And I know because you are that person. What drives you? Why go that direction?
I didn't like gyms. So 17 years ago, I didn't like any of the gyms I stepped foot into. And I didn't like any of the possible ways to lose weight. And so I started my own. And to this day, the reason that our gyms are still around and the reason it's been 17 years is because they're my loves. Like it's exactly how I want to work out. It's exactly the nutrition programs that I want to follow. And I mean, it sounds a little bit selfish, but I started it because I needed it. And then the beautiful thing happened. The first year, we only had one client who paid, because everyone kind of thought it was a silly idea. And I hadn't lost the weight yet. So I was like leading these camps and I had my whistle and my camo and I was overweight. So that probably didn't help. But I was like, if one person likes this, then I can find the rest of them. And that's still to this day, finding those people and gathering them together, the people who love food, the people who, you know, they're like, okay, I'm going to push myself, and people who want to get better and want to improve, and being with those people. And the other part is another reason to just keep it going is it is so freaking life-changing for these people when they go from the overwhelm and the brain fog, and we hit a certain age in our life, and all of a sudden it kind of like, is this what life is? Like, really? Like, I kind of thought I was going to grow up and like do awesome things. And here I am in this life that is just really hard. It's really hard. And for them to be able to come into our gyms and for us to celebrate their wins, celebrate their personal records, show them that life isn't over. There are still so many things they can do. We have 60-year-old athletes, 70-year-old athletes. Like, there are so many things that they can still do. They can still be kids again. They can still have fun again, and they can feel good. And they can also pass those feelings down to their kids, and they can break the generational, you know, toughness of like, so, you know, in my family, we have generational overweightness. I don't know what else to call it. And to be able to break that cycle for your kids and show them what it looks like to be healthy and be happy, like that's a pretty big why. So my why in a nutshell is, I feel like if people can help themselves like feel better, then they're nicer, kinder humans to their kids, to their coworkers, to their spouses, to the entire world, and they have more energy to give the world, and it makes the world a better place.
Let's go. I love it, Julie. Hey, thank you so much for being you and taking some time and sharing your world with all the other fellow FlowChat fam members and Sales Ascenders out there. And thank you all for listening today, hanging out with us every week. We'll be here. We've been doing this over a year now. It's crazy how fast it's gone. Bringing real people that are actually getting real results, not only for themselves, but for those around them. They're serving their market in a real and a powerful way, cutting through all the BS. Entrepreneurship is lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And the Spotlight is a place for you to come hang out with fellow, you know, crazy entrepreneurs and make your mark in the world. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.